It is National Circuit Day. I tweeted out a few days ago that I was going to do a Q&A before the National Circuit. Here it is. Got a few questions about the National Circuit and a few other things. Going to cover it. Might as well jump straight into it. First question comes from F7 Cruz. He says, predictions on the National Circuit and what teams do you think are going to place where? So, there's been a roster mania. Some of the rosters I don't think have officially been announced yet, even though they're technically signed up. So everyone knows them anyway. Taboo have made a roster change. Kings disbanded. They pretty much made a new roster with like Fade and Beast and completely new roster. And F7 also made a roster change. So those are three teams that are in there that have made changes. I don't think that this was the best idea a week before the National Circuit begins. So I don't know how those teams are going to perform, but based on previous results, I'm going to say that obviously I think that we're going to do well. I think that we're going to take it out. I think the second best team is probably Tainted Minds. After that, I would probably say Taboo, and then it would really be a toss-up between like the old Athletico or the Kings roster. I would say probably Athletico. Nakeezy asks, is there any team capable of winning every single National League season? So, I would say that APAC right now isn't very top heavy now that MF is overseas. This is probably the closest form of skill gap that we've had in history of APAC, I'd say. So I'd say there's, I mean, anyone could do it, but the likeliness is very slim purely just because of how close it is. You'll probably see a different winner, maybe, I don't know, every different season. If not, I think the most that one team could probably win is 2 seasons in a row with the current rosters that are formed. This next question comes from XEasy. He says, would you join MF if you had the chance? And also, who's the best SMG player in the game? And also in APAC. Would I join MF if I had the chance? I think as a standard, anyone in APAC, just because of how well that they've done over time, you would it would be a good opportunity, especially if your main goal was to win. I think if you were to take things a little bit more casually and cared about how you were treated as a player, it probably wouldn't be the team for you. But I would take it. The best SMG player in the game, I'd probably have to say Kenny right now. And the best SMG player in APAC, not going to include myself and my teammates, I'll probably say Setsi. Mitch Johnson says, how much, if any, impact will the roster changes have on performance and placements of teams? So I actually think this is going to have a major impact in a good and a bad way. There are going to be one of two things that's going to happen. Actually, no, one of 3 things. Teams could either go through a honeymoon period. That's very likely for at least one of these 3 teams that have made changes. Teams could go through a slow process where it takes them a while to find their feet. And for their sake, they would want to hope that, you know, they find their feet within the next 4 weeks. And the last thing is, you know, their teams just don't work at all. So I think that those things are definitely bound to happen. So it will definitely throw things up in the air in terms of how this league goes, and I guess we'll find out after probably the 2nd week, I'd say, where teams stand. The next question comes from Pre-Shots. He says, if you got offered a spot in NA, would you take it? Within a heartbeat. If I had someone enter my DMs and say, like, look, you can move over to NA, you can play full-time, I would, that has been my goal since, like, day 1, so 100% I would take it. Scooter says, what do you think of the current National Circuit structure in regards to getting a spot in relegations? So I actually quite like it. Obviously it sucks that it's online, but you know, something is better than definitely nothing. The fact that we only play every team once though, I don't know how I feel about that, because I look back on like the Black Ops 3 season where we had the Citadel online leagues, and there were teams that like made it into the top 4 like qualification process because they had to verse every team twice. Like at the end of the season, they were definitely the better team. So yeah, I don't know about just playing every team once, but other than that, everything's fine. Relegation's fine. I think the fact that the team that wins that gets to go overseas is really cool, especially because it's so expensive from APAC. I think it's a great opportunity. Thoughts on players holding prize pools in high regard over experience? Keeping in mind a lot of players haven't been to a LAN event. This question comes from Drawsies. So I've done this before, and it's a really bad mentality to have. When you're competing, if you're competing for looking at like the dollar sign at the end of the competition, it's never been really a good time. I've always done a lot better as a competitor when I've actually cared more about, just winning and beating certain teams or individuals than I have caring about or worrying about how much money I'm going to make. So I think it is important though that, we're in 2018 and our esport needs to keep up with the rest of the other esports, if that makes sense. I don't know. Next question comes from Skiller. Favorite map of all time? I'd probably have to say Raid on Black Ops 2, easily. Like I think everyone thinks that. Next question comes from your boy Gib. It says two-part here. Scale of 1 to 10. How optimistic are you of an ANZ-based LAN this year? 100% 10. I think that everyone's freaking out over this whole LAN scenario when they completely forget that we didn't have our Cedar Bell Sydney LAN in IW announced until February. Like we're in January right now. I mean, we may not get a LAN, but I think it's too early to say, and I'm not that worried. So I'm very optimistic that we'll get one. So I'd literally say a 10, because would I at least get a LAN qualify for champs? I'm sure of that. Alright, final question. Kind of goes back to the NA situation from before. This one comes from Dan the Wolf. When do you see yourself moving to NA or EU to compete, be it with your teammates or not? So after we attended Dallas in December, I really put some thought into it. Like after playing those teams and figuring out or finding out how they lived their lives over there compared to APAC, and it's just abundantly clear to me that if you want to do COD full time, you can't stay in APAC. That's just facts. I mean, I don't even think for MF, in terms of them making a living from COD, I don't think that APAC organizations get enough monetary sponsorship in order to fund like really good salaries, other than maybe like 1 or 2 orgs, and then also the prize money for a team like that isn't high enough, even though they're a GPL team. So, and that's considering that's MF. No one has like toppled MF in like years. So I think that to go to NA is very important, and I will still continuously try to look at my options if anything ever arises. If not, create my own opportunity to do that. But anyway, this is the end of my Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys tune into the National Circuit Games tonight and for the rest of the 4 weeks. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.